Two friends, Yash and Devanshi, both had applied to PwC back in 2014. PwC is one of the largest companies in the world, known as one of the big four, along with KPMG, Deloitte and EY. Both of them had just graduated. Yash from a college called HR College, Devanshi from a college called NM. Both of these are considered the #1 commerce colleges in Mumbai, which PwC was aware about. Both of them had completed BCom and both were the age of 21. So more or less for PwC, both of these candidates were the same. They were both applying for a department called transfer pricing under international taxation. So because they were similar, PwC hired both of them. But Yash had completed his ACCA in his 3 years of college. So Devanshi got hired at a position called an analyst. Yash got hired at 2 positions above her at a position called an associate. Devanshi's salary package was 2 lakhs. Yash's salary package was 7. She was given a graduate salary. He was given a chartered account salary. And this is the story of what actually happened to me when I started my career in PwC as an ACCA. I was like a proxy for Yash. And this is when it actually blew my mind. I realized, without really expecting this, the effort I had spent in 3 years along with my BCom to actually study ACCA had given me 3.5 times the advantage of anybody around me. And I realized now that it was almost going to be impossible for them to catch up to me in their career. So with that introduction of ACCA, guys, welcome to 2024. And in this year, it's going to be one of the most crucial years for you all to make up your mind as to what qualification to pursue. And for y'all, we are coming up with a mega series where we will be talking about 7 finance and accounting qualifications that are relevant today in India as well as overseas. 7 qualifications that you might be confused about if you are wanting to start your career in this domain but don't understand what is the right path for you. So, with ACCA as part 1, stay tuned across the 7 series and hope that you guys make the right career choice for yourselves. And as a bonus, and thanks to the amount of love you all have sent on YouTube across so many years, we're going to do one special thing. Wait till the end of the video because across it, there will be 3 questions that I'll be asking, which will be about ACCA. May or may not get covered in the video. And I would like you guys to pause it and answer it in the comments. And from all the students who end up answering it, we will be selecting anyone. We will reach out to you and will be providing you the entire ACCA qualification for free. So with that, let me introduce you to ACCA. Now, the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants. What exactly is this? Think of ACCA as global CA, right? Global CA. Global means ACCA is applicable across the world in countries like UK, Canada, Australia, Singapore, Dubai, and India. And it is applicable like this across 180 countries where you go anywhere and you will be recognized. And I said global CA. So by CA, what I mean is, let's say you're a CA and I'm an ACCA. We both will be almost at the same level in everything. We study the same subjects. We can have the same kind of roles. We can have the same kind of profile, the same salary packages. And of course, both have certain nuances which are different, but more or less ACCA and CA are considered the same. Now, the body which controls ACCA is called ACCA, which is headquartered in London, and they have offices in India, in Bombay, in Bangalore, and in Delhi. So that's just for context for introducing you guys to what ACCA is all about. And when it comes to the salary package, if you are an ACCA member, which I'll come to in a minute, if you're an ACCA member, your salary package can range between 8 to 12 lakhs as your first salary. And then, of course, like I mentioned, if you're a CFO equivalent, it can go into crores and crores. I've even now started seeing partners in certain companies which are in India, where these partners are also ACCAs. They might be CAs plus ACCAs, but they became ACCAs along their way to becoming a partner. So partners basically have crores and crores in compensation. But yeah, you start with an 8 to 12 lakh package. Also remember, there is something called PER in ACCA, Practical Experience Requirement. Now, what this is, by the way, I've made detailed videos on each of these things, so please have a look. But essentially, if you've completed all 13 exams of ACCA, but not your work experience, you are known as an ACCA affiliate. If you complete your PER, right, so your ACCA affiliate plus PER makes you an ACCA member. And everything I was talking about is for a member. So what is this PER? In a gist, it is to do with 36 months of work experience. And this work experience is not what you should aim for that higher salary bracket. How articles get 6,000 rupees, 7,000, 10,000 rupees per month. ACCAs in their articleship period can get between 30 to 40,000 rupees minimum. So that's a great start for most of you guys. Please take the right level of advantage for it and jump ahead in your career. But yes, the major salary starts when you are an ACCA member. Also, we've seen now companies from Bajaj Finance and Kotak Securities and just on, companies have started. Anand Rathi, Motilal Oswal, these kind of companies are also recognizing and open to hiring ACCAs. This is just to do with India. And next, when it comes to overseas, right? There is a website, official website called ACCAcareers.com. I know people who have applied from here and gotten a job in Australia 10 years ago at 55,000 Australian dollars. I know faculty members who shifted to UK, who shifted to Canada. So many of them go to Dubai. We've had students from Singapore who've gone to Singapore. We've had students who have gotten an opportunity in one of their companies to go and work in San Francisco. So I can go on and on with what international options are. And we have vacancies for German companies. And it blows my mind how many people across the world are open to hiring ACCAs. That's what happens when you look at an international approach, right? We've had people who wanting to go to Canada and they were Indian CAs and they ended up studying ACCA and then they got the chance to move to Canada. Our entire Zell alumni club, we have students who are studying or working in Japan, in Ireland, beyond these obvious countries like UK, US. So the international scope of ACCA is also far and wide. Next one comes to profiles. So what kind of profiles do ACCAs land up working in? Well, the usual ones. Today I was having a call with one of the big four. They are wanting to hire in departments like statutory audit, internal audit, forensic audit. Then we talk about taxation, where I had worked in international taxation. But most importantly is the advisory arm of India. So these consulting companies require specialists who are chartered accountants like ACCAs to help them in departments like accounting advisory. Accounting advisory was one of my favorite departments I wanted to work in, but in the beginning I didn't end up getting an interview there. But I would suggest all of you all to think about that. There is risk advisory, there is mergers and acquisition, there is valuations, there is due diligence, and these are just some basic profiles. Beyond these, we also have faculty members who are CFOs, the chief financial officers of 2,000 crore valued companies in India in financial securities. Right from there to people working in real estate, people have jumped into entrepreneurship, people have joined their family businesses, people have gotten into hospitality. The scope of what ACCAs can do just goes on and on and on. So, question number 1. What are the maximum number of exams you can appear for per attempt? Next comes the scope, the value of ACCA in India, which has changed so much since I had studied ACCA. Let me try and give you the entire gist of it by splitting it into India and overseas. Let me first finish India because I think majority of you guys watching, you all would want that ACCA should have value in India. And then if you have opportunities to go abroad, you will take it. But let's first sort your basic security out. So in India, the kind of companies that hire ACCAs are first of all these multinationals, especially, right? So you have the big four, like I mentioned in the beginning. You have PwC, Deloitte, KPMG, EY, where most commerce students are dreaming of starting their careers in. The big four, the next biggest company is called Grant Thornton, and then there is a company called BDO. But these are multinationals. Besides these, we have people who are working in Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley. We have people working in banking. We have people working in HDFC, which is an Indian bank, Kotak, which is an Indian bank, Axis, which is an Indian bank, but also international, like American Express, like Citibank. We've seen candidates working across Standard Chartered. These are the kind of companies that ACCAs in the banking sector work in. Then we've seen it in brands, right? So there are multinational companies where whether you talk about Amazon, you talk about Apple, you talk about Capgemini, you talk about Musk, there are companies where multinational companies are also hiring ACCAs, even though they are not into finance and accounts, but the finance department is so large that you need ACCAs to help you work over there as well. Over and above that, we have our own placement team in the last few years has seen this dramatic rise in small and mid-sized companies of India willing to hire ACCAs right when they have 0 years of experience or when they've completed their ACCA qualification, as well as when they have a little bit of experience. So the overall range of ACCA companies who are hiring, it has expanded significantly from the time when I had actually started, when barely anybody was even aware about what ACCA is. This is to do with the companies hiring in India. Next, the eligibility criteria. Now, online, you might face a little complication that ACCA you can start after 12th and you need 65% in English, accounts, 50% in other subjects, etc., etc. But the long and short of it is, you can start ACCA even after grade 10. In fact, 50% of Zell students are between the ages of 16 and 18, which is between grade 10 and grade 12. And they're the ones who will end up clearing the fastest because they have highest momentum of studying. And ACCA starts each subject from the basics. So these students really don't need pre-knowledge of accounts or anything of that sort. But if you give in grade 12 or you're higher, you might also get exemptions. So that's another reason for you to consider ACCA. Question number 2. What are the maximum number of papers you can give in your professional level exams? Next, let me talk about the academic structure. So, the number of exams and levels. So ACCA is split into 3 levels: knowledge level, skill level, and professional level, a total of 13 papers within them. These subjects cover the same thing that you cover in CA. You cover accounts, audit, tax, costing, financial management. And in fact, ACCA also has a business paper at the end, which I call a mini MBA. And I started seeing a lot of people across India calling it a mini MBA because of these videos. And it's my favorite paper because this teaches you how to look at the world of business from the lens of finance and accounts, and it sometimes gives you a higher advantage than anything else that you might be looking for. All right. Next, when it comes to the exam duration. So ACCA, on an average, you can complete between 2 to 3 years. The fastest you can do is 18 months. And if you have to take longer, which some students might, then you can actually, you can even complete it within 4 or 5 years. Next, let's talk about the exam window. So the knowledge level, which is the first level of ACCA, these exams are what we call on demand, which means you can give them anytime across the 365 days of the year. All you need to do is prepare for an exam, call an exam center. So Zell, besides being a platinum partner, we are also a licensed computer-based exam center. So you call us and say, okay, on Monday, I want to come at 10 a.m. for this subject. We'll look it up, and if there is vacancy, we'll say, please come 10 to 12, give the exam on the spot, pass and move ahead. That's how the first level works of on-demand exam. The second and the third level, the skill and the professional level, exams of ACCA are held every March, June, September and December. Question number 3. What are the maximum number of exemptions that you can earn as a student when it comes to the ACCA qualification? Next, when it comes to the passing rate. So across the last 10 years, across all the subjects of ACCA, the passing rate has been on an average 40%, which means 4 out of 10 students land up clearing all the exams of ACCA. Now, of course, at Zell, because we have an entire ecosystem of faculty members, content, thousands of students, we are a platinum partner like I was mentioning. Obviously, our passing rate is a little higher. It goes between 7 to 8 out of 10 students landing up clearing these exams. Our passing rate is between 75% to 80%. The point of this is that if you get into ACCA, the chances of you clearing are extremely high as long as you put in that kind of effort. Next is the pass mark, which means 50 on 100 per paper you need to clear. And the paper pattern is that for the first level, it is only multiple choice questions, pure objective, no negative marking. Second level is a mix of objective and subjective questions. And the final level is completely subjective. And all of these are computer-based exams. You have to use 0 pen and paper because the real world is all about actually using your assets, laptops to actually solve clients' problems. So you practice on it as well. Lastly, just for those who are comparing it to CA, there is no group system, there's no aggregate system, which means in ACCA, you can actually give 1 paper at a time if you want, 2 papers at a time, 3 or even 4 papers at a time. And you'll end up focusing on each paper, and every paper you clear, you're moving ahead. No paper is connected to the past one like it is in our CA exams. Finally, guys, talking about the fee structure. So ACCA totally, if you take all 13 papers, it will cost you approximately 4.5 to 5 lakhs. And this is spread over 2 to 3 years. And these 4 to 5 lakhs include all the details: your registration, your subscription fee, which you pay every year, your exam fees, if you are at all entitled to exemptions, then your exemption fees, your study material and your training fees. So it includes everything that is included in the fees. Plus, as you give these exams, you don't have to shell out everything at once. You pay as you go, And if you start working, you're also earning back as you move ahead. So net, this qualification is relatively flexible because you get to work while you study or attend college while you study or everything. You don't have to wait till you are a graduate. You don't have to spend 2 years in a campus and only study and then hope that your career takes off. You can actually do everything simultaneously, and that's the major advantage that I face. Without knowing it, along with my other college folks, I not only completed what they had, which is a simple BCom, but I completed these ACCA exams and I ended up working for 2 years without knowing how much it's going to benefit me. And then there was this explosion in my career launch, which till date, I can't get enough. I can't thank, and I don't have enough gratitude to give towards this opportunity. So that's what these kind of qualifications do, guys. I forgot a point to share with some of y'all, that there are certain exemptions that y'all will get. And once again, I made a detailed video on exemptions, but the point of exemptions are, if you're a very young student between 16 to 19 years of age, 20 years of age, don't bother about exemptions. I would not even recommend you, even if you are entitled. But if you're a graduate, if you're a chartered accountant, pass or fail, if you are somebody who wants to quickly move ahead and you have the right knowledge base, ACCA more or less will always give you exemptions, which means from the 13 exams, you might get the opportunity to skip 5 or 6 of them, essentially only appearing for half of the qualification and yet getting the 100% benefit out of it. But for this, instead of you taking a choice of your own, my recommendation is, please either reach out to me where I can help you at a personal level, or watch our videos on exemptions where you can understand why am I suggesting some students to forfeit. You might think it might be less effort or less money or less time, but I can promise you that there is a higher chance that if exemptions are taken wrongfully, you'll end up wasting more time, paying more money and investing more energy. Anyway, so balance that out, and we're always there to help. Beyond that, guys, ACCA is our flagship qualification. We have thousands and thousands of students joining us every year. Any question, any doubt, any confusion, any help in developing your personal roadmap, please feel free. Reach out to us, leave any question in the comments, and we'll be sure to help you out. So guys, with that, I hope that you all have clarity on at least ACCA. But stay tuned across our mega series. If you're still more confused, we will be covering, like I said, all the major qualifications that you need to know about, which have recognition and relevance in today's market to make your career decision.